So hi everyone, today is Monday, October 10, 2022 and we will be doing the Hindu Daily Edition. Okay, so it has been quite a few time that we last met, right? We met in the first week of September and now today is second week of October. You know obviously why I was not doing the analysis because of UPSC mains as well as the BPSC prelims that got scheduled many a times and finally it was conducted on 30th September 2022. So post that I took a 5-7 day leave. Okay, after giving so many exams I wanted a leave, so I took a leave and went for a travel. Now I am back. So let's begin today's newspaper analysis without any delay. So the what we do, we first analyze, we first mark out the most important news, identify the most important news, and obviously it would be followed by a detailed discussion. So without wasting time, let's see what we have in the basket today. Okay, at 7.45 lakh crore rupees, direct tax receipt cross half the target. Okay, we'll be doing this. Arm Minister not required. Fatalities among UN peacekeeping forces rising. Okay. Sri Lankan youth travel not required. Okay. Nothing there on that page. Nothing on this page. Okay. Very fine. There is nothing here. Let's see. Again, heroin seized in Kerala. Okay. So substance abuse has been on rise in Kerala because this is the fifth time I think in last 1 year that there has been a seizure in Kerala. Okay, so you can write that Kerala is emerging as a transport hub in substance supply chain. Okay. Fine. So gag butternut squash farmer in Kerala yield to pull of exotic novelty. Okay, we'll see it very briefly. Why India Inc. is not a Hanuman leap? Okay, we'll see it because it is related to finance and all those things. Status beyond faith. Okay, the fate of chip very important because it is related to the Gujarat semiconductor policy, right? The coalition of the world, we have to see this. Hartal bring Kerala to standstill not required. Inflation peaks in Europe obviously. Action planning in Delhi air pollution just would be enough because it is an action plan. Okay, and programming language running crypto economy just would be enough I think. If not, then we'll go inside. Not required. Gauri Lankesh. Okay. Okay, Malabar exercise. The quad Malabar exercise will be held in Japan. Okay, just know this thing. Okay, so there is nothing. I don't see anything here. And then we are on the world page. Okay. Okay, so we are on the sports page, right? So we are done identifying the most important news. Now let's go back and analyze the same. We don't have much news on these pages. We just have to see this direct taxation. The target would have been obviously 15 lakh crores. So about 15 lakh crores, right? So let's see. Gross collection is 8.98 lakh crores. Tax refund jumps 81% over preceding year to touch 1.5 lakh crores. Finance Ministry said revenues have been registered a steady growth. Fine. So Finance Ministry is pitching that yes, revenues are growing at a steady rate. That's a good sign for the economy. Okay, let's see. So direct tax collection after refunding is about 16%. This is an important figure, and obviously 24% is gross DT, right? So what is the actual 16. So what is the difference? 8%. So about 8% goes off, right, of what is collected. Corporate income tax is 17%. PIT would including securities transaction tax, because you know this thing, CIT and PIT are almost equal to 17-18%, right? So it is 32% after considering the STT. Fine. Corporate income tax is 17% almost. Okay. Personal income tax is 17%. That's what I was saying. 17 to 18% is CIT and PIT, both in the same range. Okay, some here and there, but both are in the same range. Right now, PIT, personal income tax, is better placed. Okay. So graph shows increase in tax collection in financial year. Okay, fine. 2023 have risen to, this is what? This is tax, right? Direct tax. Okay, DT, direct tax. Okay, remember this, GST, indirect tax. Okay, and all those mentioned here, like these two are the, okay, so get these two are the subtotal of other two. CIT, PIT are two important direct taxes, right? The budget target, okay, has risen to more than half of the budget target. Fine, says Finance Ministry. It is an increase of about 17%, 16.3% tax inflows during the corresponding year. Based on data, net personal income tax collection grew by 17.35%, and all those things are there. What are the reasons? Have they given or not? Or just the data? Okay, so I don't see anything coming here. Fine, so just know this thing. There are 2-3 takeaways. That direct tax, net direct tax is 17%, 16-17%, 16 to 17%, and gross is 24-25%, 1/4, right? And you have CIT almost equals to PIT, and it is almost equals to 17-18%, same as this net direct tax, right? You got it? Okay, so let's see. There wasn't any other news on this page, no? Okay, we had a news there on the next page, I think. Yes, here it is. Because it is talking about exotic nobility, therefore we have to see what kind of new crops they are taken up and how they will benefit them. Okay, GAC fruit garden. I don't know what is a GAC fruit. I have heard it for the first time, but this is how it looks. Okay, Kerala farmer continues the trials with exotic and more farmland. Are okay, exotic varieties of fruits and etc. are growing on more farmland. Means the acreage has increased for these fruits, and are finding space for new import that include bitter melons or wild bitter gourds from northeast India, butternut squash from Central America, and GAC fruit from Vietnam and its neighbor. Along with this exotic variety, interest is being revived in cultivation of loquat from China, which is used to be cultivated by some farmers in soil rich in clay and some part of the state. Okay, gone are the days when dragon fruit, rambutan, and muskmelon used to be in vogue. Okay, fine. So these 3-4 type of things are there. So these are agrarian new trials. Okay, this fetch good money, therefore they are doing this. Okay, in market there is better price discovery for these things, right? Okay, so there's nothing new here, just the same old story. Now India Inc. is not taking a Hanuman leap. I should not say Hanuman, it should be Hanuman leap. Okay, so let's see what is the caption here. The one lever that the government could have pulled as it watched private investment decline was to set up public investment. Okay, you know, economic survey has talked about what? Public investment driving private investment, and that should be driving demand. So I think it will be based on this. Let's see. I have not read this article right now, so I have to also see what is there. In a meeting with country's corporate leader on September 15, Finance Minister drew attention to an important aspect of economy. She rigidly flagged concern about sluggish corporate investment despite the government business-friendly stance, okay? Including reduction in corporate tax. The reduction effected from 19 lowered the rate for existing companies from 20 to 22% from 30%. Fine, lowered the rate for existing companies to 22% and new manufacturing companies to 15%. However, corporate investment as a share of national income has barely budged. She challenged corporate leader to invest, asking rhetorically whether, like Hanuman in Ramayana, they need to be reminded of their inborn strength. The analogy is mismatched, though. For a while, Hanuman was so devoted to Lord Ram that he was ready to risk his life serving him. Private firms are driven by profit expectations. Managers are averse to risk and unlikely to rush to invest based on exhaustion from a minister if they do not anticipate enough profit. Okay, we know that capitalism is like this only, right? So the private ownership of resources and private firms will do anything for profit. If there is no profit, they won't be doing anything, they won't be taking the risk. Okay, private investment account for close to 75% of total capital formation in the economy. Its revival therefore is essential for sustained growth in the economy. Decline in private capital formation. The Modi government first pronounced in 2014 has conveyed that it desired to shift away from state-driven model of economic development. This much was apparent in its slogan minimum government. If this was to be, private sector would take the lead in driving the economy. Mr. Modi has a reputation of a business-friendly chief minister of Gujarat. Upon reaching Delhi, he emphasized that his government would improve the ease of doing business in India. This by itself is worthy. Okay, yes, here it is. Objective. As anyone familiar with working of the regulatory apparatus in the country would agree. As private capital formation has peaked in 11-12, its decline is something that the present government inherited. Okay, so private capital formation peaked in 11-12, right? So it peaked in 2011-12. So after this, any government would, what it will see? It will see a decline in the investment. However, it has no success in turning it up around. Though it has not allowed public investment to slip, that has not been enough under the circumstances. Either ideological predilections regarding the size of the government or the straitjacket imposed by the fiscal FRBM Act have held back the government from expanding it. We can see with hindsight that government misread the situation prevailing when it came to power and thus failed to recognize its own role in the movement. So, what was the state of economy then? So, what was the state of economy before this government came or the time when it peaked? Okay, the investment from private sector peaked. Let's see. The boom of 2008 has ended and the economy was held up only by the former finance minister Pranab Mukherjee's stimulus. When Mr. Modi arrived at the center, the upsurge in public investment has long since ended and agricultural growth has become erratic. In fact, the first 2 years of his prime ministership, the agriculture did not grow at all. Finally, when the global financial crisis and slowing of the world economy exporting growth declined, these added up to the slowing of the exogenous driver of demand. The private investors could not but have seen that situation was not likely to turn positive soon. Also, they would not necessarily have been enthused by the possibility that ideology of minimum government could end up in putting public investment on hold, failing to expand aggregate demand when it was needed. Okay, so the private firms were not seeing that demand was, what do they observe? That demand was low. So even if government is saying that yes, we have the minimum government type of policy, still they won't take the risk because the basic factor, the demand was low. Okay, so based on the situation in 2014, India's investor would have been fully rational in anticipating a not so rosy future in the economy unless some exogenous factor were to turn favorable or the government was to act decisively to energize the situation through public investment. They would have seen the demonetization with the attended digitization and the roll out of GST could not have been done much for the growth of the demand. Okay, so these three things, means demonetization, okay, digitization, and the role of GST, right? They were anticipate. The purpose was what? The purpose was demand would grow because black money would be curbed, right? And what happened? It is facing now teething issues, and it would take some time before the results are up. Fine. Stepping up public investment, the one lever that government could have pulled as it was private investment decline was to step up public investment, right? Because increase in investment would lead to increase in capital formation. Obviously, we know that investment definition is related to capital formation, direct proportional, and this would relate to what? Increase in GDP if other factor remains in favor. It refused to do so for its first 6 years in office. Only ideological blinkers combined with hubris that there is nothing to be learned from the history can explain the inaction. In 1947, every turning point of growth in India was preceded by a significant shift upward of public investment rate. This include the growth in acceleration of 1950s, 1970, early 2000 downward and all those things. It suggested that crowding in rather than crowding out characterizes the relationship between public and private capital formation in India. While the Modi government has long nursed the aversion of the government playing a role in capital formation, the experience during the pandemic seems to have brought a change of mind. The Union Budget of 2022 was defined by the historic increase in allocation for capital spending. That's what I was saying in the first time when I started this article. This could have positive effect on private investment, but past experience suggests that it could take time to play out. So the expansion and public investment may have to be sustained for sufficiently long. Even the fiscally conservative International Monetary Fund has suggested that public investment can play a role of engine of growth for developing economies. Okay, so it is saying that this year budget, I want to say that this year economic survey first talked about the public investment leading to crowding in of private investment, right? And on that background, the budget was also prepared for this, where heavy capex formation, capex means capital expenditure was expected out of budget, right? So in this sense, India is now spending heavily. The public expenditure has risen, and the government is expecting that this would bring in or crowd private investment. That's what the author is saying, that this could have been done earlier. The sustained growth needed to kindle the private investment may require that the current public investment thrust be sustained for at least half a decade, means 5 years at least, right? However, two aspects will remain crucial even if government were to find will to maintain its current place. One, it is important to choose the right project. The investment must be focused on productivity, enhancing infrastructure, having high spill over effects, right? Here, some tight transfer of fund to state would be desirable, as they are better placed to identify such investment. 2. Inflation can derail a high public investment program due to disaffection it generates. Its control would require step in growth of agriculture produce other than superior cereals. In fact, this should be seen as an opportunity to end India's import dependence on edible oil and persisting shortfall in supply of vegetable. You know that although we produce a lot of edible oil, but still we have to import about 80% of our edible oil from outside, right? So the author says that yes, this is the best time that we can grow up for our own, so that we become surplus in this, or at least self-sufficient in this aspect. It is now clear that RBI does not have what it takes to control inflation, and only supply side thrust can permanently end food inflation. Obviously, because look, RBI has monetary tools, but they cannot bring in the supply. Okay, if you don't have enough in the market for purchase, fine. If you don't have enough wheat in the market so that it could be purchased, so there would be inflation. Whatever repo rates RBI gives, whatever it may not give, whatever policy tools it use, but still inflation would be there because people need it. That's an inelastic demand, right? So for that, what we have to do, we have to increase the supply. So more wheat in the market means lesser price. Though this government may have inherited a sluggish private investment, it must reflect upon whether its own action has adversely affected the investment climate. Could its significant step up in raids by ED and income tax have a chilling effect? Could the unreasonable stringency that governs the financial transaction, even not for profit organization, have stifled the legitimate economic activity that they give rise to? Could it be that economic goose is being crooked by the surveillance state? No. They may say so, but this is also necessary. These things, ED and income tax, will be doing their work. If you are not guilty, then nobody can prove you guilty. That's what I would like to say, right? So, okay, the article is good, more or less. It explains many facets. Okay, now let's do the second one. The fate of chip will determine the fate of nation. Yes, obviously. A human hair is 50 to 180 micron, whereas the novel coronavirus is 0.1 to 0.5 micron. In comparison, today's most advanced chips are about half the size of novel coronavirus in diameter and are shrinking rapidly. The fate of nation depends upon this infinitesimally small piece of silicon, which can devastate or shape our life in myriad ways. Dependence on chip. Let us consider three different scenarios. First, Apple's new A16 chip has over 16 billion transistors in it, and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, the world's leading manufacturer chip, placed over 1 quintillion, that is 1 followed by 18 zeros, transistor on just the iPhone chip. Every message we send, every picture we take, every call we make depend on one chip or the other. Yes, Apple buys this chip from Cirrus Logic. Okay, and it designed their in-house and super complex process that runs the iPhone operating system makes Apple a force of nature. But even a $1 trillion company like Apple is not able to manufacture its own chip. A16 is made by a single company in the single building called Building 18 in Taipei. TSMC's fab is perhaps world's most expensive and most valuable factory. Chips today are manufactured in just a handful nations: Taiwan, South Korea, US, Japan, Netherlands and China. Only this much. And trust me, if India gets a hold of it, then with this much cheap labor and this much talent available in India, we can be the world power here. Okay, now let's see the second scenario. Russia appears to be unable to dominate the Ukraine in the war. One of the reasons being that it is using more brawn than brain. Ukraine is using precision guided missiles to fight Russia, which it recently procured from Western allies. These missiles are powered by chips. While Russia has some precision guided missiles, it is unable to manufacture these at scale because of Western trade sanctions. Whatever Russia has in combination of some shipped stolen, some made indigenously and some imported in past, claim Ukraine and US official. The Ukraine government famous entity list ensured that the technology does not reach China and Russia and they cannot get ahead in chip race. Third, earlier this year, Toyota temporarily shut down its production assembly lines at 5 domestic group plants in Japan due to shortage of chips. If you were to buy a new car in US, the waiting time is really long. What is common in these three scenarios is the importance of chips. Not just the ability to manufacture chips, but also the ability to integrate and synthesize them into complex systems will determine the fate of nation in the coming decade. Today, critical sectors such as defense, telecom, electronics, mobility are hugely impacted by the chip shortage, which won't end until 2023 as per research studies. If there were a natural disaster in South Korea or Taiwan, it would only worsen the crisis. The US, European Union, Japan, India and China have procured about $200 billion into semiconductor sector, but the impact of that will be not seen now. The US was ready to defend Taiwan should there be aggression from China, probably because no country in the world has capability to produce chip better and faster than Taiwan and South Korea does. Okay, do not be foxconed. While India has taken visionary steps to subsidize chip manufacturing through the production link incentive scheme, there is one cautionary tale that it must bear in mind as it chases the global chip manufacturing. It is called "Don't be foxconed." Like Brazil and Vietnam in past, in June 2018, Rakhine County in Wisconsin in US was led up by the proverbial garden parked by the Teddy Glue, chairman of Foxconn, along with US President Trump and Governor Scott Walker, okay, around 5 billion in subsidies and promised thousands of jobs and the world's best LCD manufacturing plant. But everything remained on paper. Despite uprooting people from their homes to build a new factory, not one chip or LCD panel got built there. Mr. Trump even called the Winscoin Valley Science Technology Park the eighth wonder of the world, a manufacturing facility in municipal record. Its designation was quietly changed last month to a storage facility. Indian states which are competing to court chip manufacturing investment must also bear in mind that a steady electricity and billion of gallon of clean water are required to set up a chip unit. This is what is the cost apart from money that goes in, which none of them can offer today. Even LCD panel manufacturing is dream for future. For example, the proposed Rakhine plant required about 7 million gallon of water per day, which was being called a violation of Great Lake Compact by environmentalists. The chip manufacturing will require even more. India will get there with prudent strategies and sensible leadership in coming decade if all goes well. A chip manufacturing plant costs about 15 billion to 20 billion, which takes year to recoup profitably, even if it runs all year. With global supply chain in turmoil thanks to COVID-19 and a Ukraine war, the game of chip is even more complicated now. Every major economic superpower is using money and its best mind to win this silicon battle. This will impact life of citizens in more ways than one. India can afford to lose this war only at its own peril. Okay, so yes, chips are very important today, and you see how beautifully the author has tried to explain that what would be the impact in future and what are the cost of setting up a plant, chip manufacturing plant. Okay, now the coalition of the world, let's see this very briefly. I would like to see India's presidency of G20, SCO and UNSC is a historic opportunity for reinventing the United Nations. I don't think it would be important. I have not read the. Okay, you give it a read. If you think it is important, then let me know. Okay, and then I would come up with a video on this. The action plan against Delhi air pollution. Let's see what it has to offer. A revised action plan to fight the serious change of air pollution in Delhi and National Capital Region has come into force after a sudden dip in air quality. Fine, it happens every time. As per the experts, the final version of GRAP could prevent the air quality crisis in Delhi NCR after Diwali. The GRAP for Delhi NCR is divided into 4 stages. Okay, stage 1 poor, 201 to 300, stage 2 very poor, 300 to 400, stage 3 severe, 400 to 450, and stage 4 severe plus. Along with the instruction for authority, GRAP includes graded advisory for the public. The measure includes properly turning engines of their vehicle, turning off. Okay, ensuring accurate air pressure in tires and updating PUC. Fine. These are the common things. GRAD has been used from I think 2017-18 only, right? So the crypto one, let's see the cache section. Crypto exchanges are often rely on smart contracts to run smoothly. A smart contract failure can cause platform outage. Exploitation of the code could devalue the entire ecosystem. Okay, so we all know that crypto or any software program, right, is based on what? Programming. And if there is a challenge or if there is a defect in this programming, then what would happen? The entire infrastructure will fall. Programming language helps crypto platform and protocols to run effectively. C++ is a programming language associated with Bitcoin. It is also one of the most used programming language, playing a role of the development of Office, operating system, gaming device, and platform search engine, etc., etc. Rust has made unique distinction of being called the perfect programming language. Okay, there is a programming language called Rust in 2021 by Twitter co-founder. However, developers have complained that Rust is too difficult to learn. Therefore, it is perfect. Anything that is perfect would always be too difficult, right? Okay, let's see what else we have. Let me zoom out first. I don't see any other news, right? Okay, then we are done with today's newspaper analysis. You just let me know, you read that UN section, right, and let me know if that is important or not. I don't see it very important because in G20 and UNSC, okay, and SEO. Okay, India will preside, and this is obviously a very good moment for India. But the question is it relevant for our examination right now? No, it is not relevant. If something happens in G20 or in the UNSC or in the SEO, or if there is a convergence between the three, then it would be very important for UPSC, right? So okay, so we are done with today's newspaper analysis. I hope you like it. If you like it, consider subscribing the channel, liking the content, commenting and sharing, right? So I'm taking a leave from you. So bye bye all. Good luck, study hard and Jai Hind. So friends, I really hope that you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe our channel and share this video with your friend. Follow us on Telegram as well. Also, keep studying hard, keep following your dreams and keep tuned to our channel. Comment below for any suggestion. Till then, goodbye, good luck, keep studying hard.